What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Monday playoff edition of Morning Cup of Hockey presented by Bet365. That's Colby Cohen. I'm Johnny Lazarus. Hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend. It feels like it's been quite a bit since we've last chatted. These extra days off, I don't know if I actually like them because I miss talking hockey with you, Colby. I got to be honest, and I miss hearing from the chat. Today will be a good one. We got to catch up about everything that went on over the weekend, like Team USA winning the World Championships for the first time in 92 years, the Carolina Hurricanes getting themselves an Eastern Conference Finals win, and the Edmonton Oilers taking a 2-1 lead in their series. We also have Jane and Guy Gaudreau coming on at 9:45, I believe, Colby, is the time, right? 9:45?
Yeah, they're going to pop on at 9:45 to talk about the 5K, the virtual 5K, some of the different things that their family has been doing to honor the boys and be out in the community. So we'll obviously look forward to hosting them in 45 minutes or so. But leading up to that, and how perfect, by the way, with the U.S. winning the gold medal. And right away, what the guys did with the jersey, like that was,
Yeah,
perfect.
it was cool. They captured Werenski like going into the locker room to grab it and coming back out. That was awesome. They got camera footage of him actually doing that. And for Werenski to be the guy to do it too, I think made it even that much more special. Obviously, teammates in Columbus and everything he said about his relationship with Johnny was pretty cool. So that was awesome to see. Did you catch most of that game or no? Because it was on like right before the Oilers Stars game started, so it was kind of tough. But man, Tage's goal was so nice too, and seeing him win something and have that kind of celebration was awesome too. I got to text him after he scored that goal. We'll try to get him on maybe.
Did he text you back?
He did, yeah. So did Shane. So did Pinto. But 3-on-3 international play. We talked about this with the World Juniors. I'm all for it. But this goal, I mean, the curl and drag here by Tage, one of the best shots you can ask for in the NHL. Still don't know how he was left off Four Nations, but we can dive into if he'll be a part of the Olympics, what this does for him with that team. I think it's tough to leave a guy who scored 40 goals off the roster. That's just me. Not sure what you think. I mean, we don't have to dive into that right now, but obviously that's going to be a thought and a conversation that goes around, I'm sure.
Well, I think the more interesting conversation is that there's been a lot of players that didn't maybe handle it all that well. Like they struggled early in the year because I think they were worried about that whole Four Nations tournament that we had this year. How many guys, whether they either made it or they didn't make it, sort of took a sigh of relief and played really well after the Four Nations? I guess actually the players who did make it, a lot of them were injured after the Four Nations. But you think about Tage, like the way he sort of picked up his play and certain other players that, I mean, remember how bad Darnell Nurse was in the beginning of the year? And then he kind of found his game a little bit after he didn't make it. I think you could make that argument for Bouchard. I mean, these are players that you thought had like real chances to make that team and didn't. So I think that's kind of the bigger conversation, Johnny, is really like, how do players handle the lead up to the Olympics? Like, how much does that affect the way guys play if they're worried about, yes or no, they made the Olympics, basically, Yeah.
Do you know when those rosters are decided?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, I lost your audio for a second there. So I know you were saying something to me, but I just wasn't sure what.
No, I just don't know how like the Olympics like selection works. Like, is there a camp for it, or they like how does that work?
I'm trying to think.
Do you know?
back.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to. I think what happens is they kind of have like a list of guys that they sort of let them know. Hey, like there's 40 of you guys that we're kind of looking at, and then they kind of narrow it in. And I think part of it has to do with there's body of work, and then there's recency bias, and how do you weigh one versus the other? And listen, I just sat through picking the U17 team, for the US Select Festival. And, just sitting in the room with the other evaluators, some NHL people, some Division I people, and all the way down, like there's always the debate of body of work versus how they're playing versus, history with the club and the organization. Like all of these things are factored in. So in a way, I think every player is looked at a little bit differently. I don't think it's a one size fits all approach to picking these teams. Do you want to read that?
Yeah, Vic just gave us an update. With NHL players set to return to the Olympics in 2026, national teams now have official deadlines to submit their preliminary and final rosters. NHL insider Pierre LeBrun reported from the NHL GM meetings on Tuesday I guess this is from a while ago, that each country must name 6 players by June 15th, with final rosters due by December 31st. He later added that this process gives teams 4 extra weeks compared to the Four Nations face-off, where final rosters were announced on December 4th, 2024, before the start of the tournament in mid-February. So that makes sense. Okay, so we'll know the roster by New Year's Eve, I guess, for the Olympics, which is an exciting way to start the new year.
Well, I mean, listen, cool. The Olympics are in February,
yeah.
Right? So it's not like you're finding out that far in advance. But okay, let's get into this.
Let's go last night. Last night first.
Start with last night.
Okay, so before we do, just want to give a quick word from our sponsor, Proraso, the most complete choice for shaving and beard care, made in Italy since 1948. Proraso has been a staple of Italian culture and barbershops globally for 4 generations, so get 15% off at Proraso-USA.com with our promo code Hockey15 in all caps, Hockey15. And Colby, I'm going to present last night's game with a question. It's going to be 2-sided. I want you to pick a side and tell me why. Okay, you ready? Was last night more of a where the hell was this Hurricanes team for the first 3 games, or Florida got too cute and took their foot off the gas up 3-0 in the series? Which one are you saying?
I am not jumping on a Carolina Hurricanes bandwagon of, this team is really good. No chance. Okay. Like the Florida Panthers came out, they didn't skate. They try to force way too many plays through the middle. I mean, look, Eddie Olczyk had his, it was like his Super Bowl of players not shooting the puck last night.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was one play, number 2. I think it was the second period. Kachuk walked right to the middle late in the second period, had a chance to shoot, and then made a pass like down to the guy in the goal line. I think it might have been for Hagee, and I was like, oh god, like they are just not. This is not the Panthers team that we've seen.
By the way, our view, we're low today. Our YouTube is low, our Twitter stream is low, so maybe people are still a little hungover from Memorial Day, just dragging their way back in. But I'm not honestly, I'm not used to seeing the audience this low. But the subscribers are up. But we have a smaller than normal audience today. But anyways, listen, I thought that Florida, look, human nature, right? Like we talk about this all the time. It's very difficult to end a team season. It's very difficult. No matter what the circumstances are, especially when you've just come out and run roughshod on a team for 3 straight games. I mean, you beat them up physically, you beat them up on the scoreboard, you beat them up just about on every facet of the game. So to expect Florida to have been able to come out last night and close them out in that manner, like I actually was not surprised to finally see a little bit of a push from Carolina. Not a little bit of a push. It was a sustained 3-period push. There's no doubt about that. Like Carolina looked, a little bit back to their identity last night. Mm-hmm. But again, Florida just fed their transition. Their forecheck was nowhere near as good as it's been. They were missing Mikkola. They're still missing Reinhart. AJ Greer, who's done a really nice job on the 4th line. They were missing him. So you're definitely looking at a little bit of a depleted group. Now you could make some of the same comments about Carolina. They're playing 2 rookie defensemen who are playing their 3rd and 2nd and 3rd or 3rd and 3rd ever playoff.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And listen, Nikishin was really good last night. I thought it was good to see him play really well. Now, granted, all of the Carolina fan
takes are hilarious.
They're ready to give this guy the Norris Trophy after one game. So hey, good for him. Again, I was happy to see that, and also, I made some comments earlier in the series that said I wanted to see Scott Morrow play over Nikishin. Well, listen, I admitted that day that I was being biased, but I'm not sure that these players are really even that close. I've always loved Scott Morrow, but Nikishin is at a different level than Scott Morrow for what he brings.
And the thing for me is too, with last night, everyone's going to say, oh, that was Carolina's best game. Like, this is the team that we know they could be. Even with that, it's a 1-0 game with like 2 minutes left.
Oh,
Like, that
for
was probably the
sure.
best. Yeah, that was probably the best Carolina could have played against Florida. And Florida still, like, I was spending that entire third period saying, oh, the Panthers are definitely going to tie this at some point.
Yeah.
Definitely. And there was that one play, I think it was Rodriguez. He had like that toe drag in the slot. Prime scoring chance. Kind of hits Freddie like right in the chest. I thought that one was going to be the one to tie it up more than Rodriguez's first goal.
What about the play?
How was it not a penalty shot?
How about the Marshy? Marshy has a 2-on-1 that he overpasses around the net. Yeah. He's got a perfect opportunity to shoot. So, Stankoven snipe, like absolute snipe. You know, I was bummed out that Eric Robertson goal got called back because I'll tell you what, Eric Robertson
that was a great play.
He played very well last night too. I mean, he, you know, again, he's a kid from our area who and grew up actually. Eric and Buddy Robinson. Buddy, I think, plays in the KHL right now. He's probably played, I don't know, 30, 40 NHL games in his career. It's his older brother.
Scored the biggest goal in Florida Panthers history.
Buddy Robinson?
Yeah.
Which was that?
He had the game-winning goal against the Penguins for the Blackhawks that got the Panthers into the playoffs, which made them go to the Stanley Cup final.
Okay. The year they lost, though, right?
The year they lost, but that was the year that this whole thing started.
Okay.
They beat Boston, beat Toronto, sweep Carolina.
Okay, so anyways, Eric Robinson was very effective last night. Again, I give the guy a lot of credit for the way that I remember doing his game when he played at Princeton, Eric.
I played against him.
The kid had undeniable speed, but it was pretty interesting the minute they challenged this. I mean, it didn't take the refs very long to see. I mean, it was blatantly offsides.
At this point too, Colby, anytime offside is challenged now, I feel like I know it's coming back. Like,
yeah, they don't challenge in the playoffs unless they're like 100%. It's definitely not going to happen. But yeah, so good for Eric Robinson. Like I said, disappointing to see the goal come back because I think he deserved to be rewarded with how he played last night, but that's just not how it works. There's no such thing as deserving in sports. You get what you get.
Shut up.
Unless you live in a fantasy world or you're Johnny Sunshine and Rainbows, which we know you are. Johnny, happy to be here, Lazarus.
Maybe we'll do that next.
So look, you've seen the outcomes. These games have not been close. Last night was the first close game, although I'd argue that it wasn't that close on the scoreboard because Carolina can't score. Look, I want to wait to kind of beat up the Carolina Hurricanes general manager a little bit, and I want to wait until I can sit here and say this is why you can't build your team using a computer. This is why you need players like Tkachuk and like Sam Bennett and like Brad Marchand and like Aaron Ekblad and guys who are bullies, guys who take chances. Maybe they're not the most pretty analytical players, and Matthew Tkachuk might not be the fastest skater on the ice at all times, but boy, is he generally effective. I mean, look what he did to Aho the other night.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Understanding, this is what your analytics can't tell you. Situation, okay? Like, how do you weigh situation into analytics? And that's where Carolina falls short. Their top players, and listen, Svechnikov and Aho, and listen, I think Slavin's a different beast because of the way that he plays, but the forwards that can't score, Jarvis, Aho, Svechnikov, like go down the list. Like they're just not big, heavy guys. I mean, okay, yeah, Svechnikov is a pretty heavy guy, but he doesn't go into the shit. It's just not his game. They're getting pushed around, right? Like they are getting bullied like they're on the schoolyard in this series.
Yeah, but who doesn't right now by Florida? Everyone gets treated that way and everyone kind of responds that way. Well, that's what Florida does. That's what makes them so successful. Do you see one team that really stands up to the Panthers and can out shit them?
Well, I mean, you've got Corey Perry, you've got Darnell Nurse. Like there's a number of guys I think on later. Yeah, I think there's a number of guys on Edmonton, since I personally still think Edmonton's going back to the Cup final.
But think about the last 3 postseasons in the Eastern Conference. Which team really actually gave it to the Panthers?
Yeah, I mean, from a depth perspective, there's nobody that can really run with them. Nobody. But I just listen. it's the same old story in Carolina. Now, if they come storming back and win the series, well, then I'm premature on my criticism. But again, like, it's almost frustrating because I believe that Rod Brindamore is great. I mean, he's such a good coach. Like, he really is. And he gets so much from this team. But like, they have a personnel issue every year in the playoffs. They get 2 empty netters last night. They get 1 goal, right? And then they get their 2 empty netters. Like, their power play is struggling. Now Florida's power play wasn't great last night either. Johnny, I thought the refs called some soft calls yesterday.
We can get into the embellishment, but I want to read this comment from Josh first. Josh Doig said, I think it's funny how everyone's like, OMG, Florida is so good. And then when they beat a team, we talk about what is wrong with the other team because they can't beat Florida. Well, that's the exact point, because Florida is the measuring stick now. So you have to build a team that's good enough to beat them. Like, that's how the NHL works, right? Like, there's a team that's at the top and everyone wants to beat that team. So you build your team in a way that can actually take it to that team. And we haven't seen that yet. Like, that's the whole point of the conversation is, Florida, the Stanley Cup champions, like it was Vegas a couple years ago. Like, those are the teams that GMs are going to measure their own group against because they're at the top. That's who everyone has to take down. And it's going to be the Florida Panthers now for a minute because, it's been 3 years of this where they're at the top. And I know maybe the regular season standings don't say so, but come playoff time, like, this is the team that does everything the right way. And, that Tkachuk Aho thing at the end of that game, I know you just breezed over it a little bit, but like, that to me was the prime example of what separates this team, because they could have gone after Aho in the beginning of that game, but the Florida Panthers know it's going to hurt way more if you beat the shit out of them on the scoreboard and then you make them pay for it after. Like, Tkachuk waited till it was 6-1 to chase Aho around the ice, kind of give it to him a little bit, a couple cross checks, then take him down in a headlock, and he was more than willing to take a penalty, and that's a penalty that his team is more than willing to kill off because they know exactly what he's doing in that situation.
That's why I'm saying they just understand situational hockey. I mean, look, Matthew Tkachuk just gets it.
Yeah.
Like, it is so clear who his father is just by the way that he plays and the understanding of situational hockey. I just, listen, I don't, there's nobody quite like him. And the one thing I don't agree with that you said, Johnny, the Florida Panthers will see, like, their day will come. I mean, they might have a window here like all these other teams. Think about it. Chicago won, 3 cups in 6 years, right?
Yeah.
But they went for it for about 10 straight years.
Well, I think they also lost in the conference finals twice in those 6 years.
But my point, I'm just saying is they went for it. When I say a team goes for it, I'm saying they go all in at the deadline. They're mortgaging the future. Like, they're thinking about now, right? Mm-hmm. Chicago did it every year for 10 years. They're paying for it now. Tampa, they went to 3 in a row. They won 2. Okay, the year before they won, they got kicked out of the first round after an insane year. They've now gone for it for like about 8 years, right? They're going to pay for it. Florida's day will come. It will. Now, Florida's going to always have a little bit of advantage because players want to go there and because players will take less money to go there because of the tax situation. But their day will come. I mean, it's the circle of life in the NHL with a triple hard cap. Your day will come. Until they take the kid gloves off of the CBA and they let teams get creative. Everybody will go through what Chicago, maybe not as bad as Chicago's gone through it, but they'll have their rebuild moment. So Florida's got their window right now, Johnny, whether they win or don't win this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, you could see them getting back, but I could also see them going all in again next year and then losing in the second round because, like, the exhaustion catches up eventually.
Well, I think next year will be another all-in year because it's the last year of Bob's contract too.
He's
Bob
been really good. He's dialed right now.
He's been really good, but he's got 1 year left in that deal and he's 36 years old. Like, how many more years has he got in him?
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the bullshit going on in the series. And one thing we didn't do last week, we breezed over it in our last show. We didn't talk about that Aho knee. On
Reinhart. Yeah.
We didn't get into that. Just for the record, I did not like that at all. I thought that was a dirt play, and you knocked a guy out of the series. And, I would call that one of those gutless plays. You hit a guy low like that. Look, here's what I would say. And I know that I kind of can get all over the place at times with these types of things, but when you hit a guy in the head, okay, when you hit a guy high, for the most part, you're not thinking, let me hit him in the head, okay? It's unfortunately the outcome. Look at the play. Was it in the Dallas game the other night? Who got buckled into the boards? It was a five. Oh no, was it Luosterainen who got the 5-minute major the other night on the forecheck where he lifts? Oh man, my brain is scrambled from this weekend. Honestly, I'll be honest. I drank like an absolute fish all weekend, just to be fair. What game were we watching? Alex and I were sitting at the greenhouse watching the game the other night. I think it must have been the Florida game. Vic, help me out here. Who got the 5-minute the other night? Goes to lift the guy. It was Luosterainen. Goes to lift it. No? We were texting with Brant about this play. You don't remember which play I'm talking about?
If it was Saturday, I was wasted also. So
okay. No, it wasn't Mikkola, Vic. It was Luosterainen on. Now I'm hearing it. Somebody saying it was Bischel. Luosterainen on Blake. Yes, Morton. It was the Luosterainen play on Blake. Okay, where he ends up hitting his face directly in the dasher. Okay, Luosterainen kind of lifts his stick. Like, the outcome of that play was horrible, but like it's one of those hockey plays kind of gone wrong. Okay, and when you look at the Aho play, like that to me isn't a hockey play. Sometimes when you come through the middle on a guy and you get him and you end up getting him in the head, yeah, that's it right there. Yeah. Like, thank you for getting on that. Like, my point of these is like, I looked at that and I went, geez, that's a really unfortunate outcome for Blake. Like, getting hit and hitting the dasher sucks. Okay, it sucks. But I didn't think that was some horribly malicious play. Right. And a lot of times when a guy steps up in the neutral zone and he smacks a guy and you get shoulder, and then you might get a little head and their head snaps back. Okay, you can penalize them, but those hits don't bother me, as they're not plays where I feel like you're targeting a guy's head. Mm-hmm. The Aho play, you're targeting a guy's knee.
If I'm a Canes fan though, and I see Ian saying it too, like that Luosterainen hit, you're seeing Jackson Blake's numbers the whole way. Like you can. If
I disagree with that. You're not seeing his number. His almost
back is to Luosterainen like the whole time.
He almost instead of just smoking him, he kind of goes in with him. And again,
if I'm a Canes fan, I could see that though, and I'd be pissed.
Of course, every Canes fan's gonna think that I'm high right now. Exactly. Of course, but my point being is there's a difference. It's an unfortunate outcome on what is more of a hockey play. Right. Yeah. And where the Aho play, to me, like that you're going for a guy's knee, right? Like, I always just have more of an issue with those, is basically where I sit on certain plays.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
So, we never weighed in on that last week. Again, like, so now you fast forward to last night, there's a little bit more, right? The Tkachuk gets called for an embellishment, which I thought was a terrible call. Bullshit. There was also, I think Slavin got a cross-checking. Yeah, it was Slavin. The cross-checking penalty on Slavin, I thought that was a dog shit call. I mean, that's a penalty. That's not an embellishment. That's ridiculous.
Can we talk about that? Because like I tweeted something last night, and I mean it's got a lot of replies, a lot of people arguing. And I don't know if Vic has it queued up, but I could just read the tweet out too. And it's just how I feel about the embellishment rule. This is what I tweeted. Nothing annoys me more than the embellishment rule. If there's a penalty, there's no embellishment. If there's no penalty and a guy tries to sell a call the embellishment and nothing else. Am I crazy? To me, the penalty there's a tweet. Thanks, Vic. To me, like, the first action causes the reaction. And that's why you see a guy, like, I don't think you can embellish something that is an actual penalty. Like, and people are like, well, what if I slash you in the shoulder and you snap your head back and act like you got hit in the face? Like, well, it's still a penalty on what you did to my shoulder. That's just a reaction to what caused it.
You can have both. I don't agree with you here because you can
Kachuk
make
doesn't do anything if he's not held and hooked by Stahl.
That was a dreadfully bad call. And Brian Boucher on the US broadcast said that he thought that call was because he felt like Kachuk tried to embellish a play earlier in the game and
so then
didn't
call
get
that.
it.
Then
But
call that.
I didn't agree with Bush on that one either, to be honest. To me, the one that they showed earlier in the game, that didn't really get me either. I think the trips are the ones that usually get me, where I'm like, wait, you either tripped him or you didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Those are the embellishment ones where I'm kind of like, But I do think there can be a penalty and you can embellish the penalty. I do think that can happen.
Well, did you see everyone saying that Rupe Hintz embellished the slash from Darnell Nurse too?
I did see that, yes.
Like, this guy missed a game. Like, you're not.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I saw Rupe Hintz go down from that slash and stay down and have
he's not a guy that does that, though.
I was like, get up, man. This is a bad look. Like, come on. I was like, and I saw every other guy who played in the National Hockey League in the last 10 years that I follow on Twitter that's retired say the same thing. People couldn't believe how injured he appeared to be. And now he missed a game. Listen, the guy missed a game. But listen, chopping a guy across their laces, I mean, that happens on every face-off you line up for. Clearly, Nurse got him in a better spot than maybe we would have thought. And of course, there's no padding.
I never really got those, to be honest.
Oh my God, every face-off you line up for in the American League, you get slashed across the laces. But look, the guy's obviously hurt if he came up and he missed a penalty, he missed a game. But I was like, come on, that doesn't look that bad to me. Like it in real time, I was like, come on, Hintz, get up.
Yeah, and NYM Marine saying, Johnny, have you ever watched a basketball game? They feel contact and die. Tim Stützle does that shit all the time. Maybe a penalty against him, but also embellishment by him. But that's what you have to call. Like, if let's say Tim Stützle, if you feel like he's milking something, if there is no actual illegal contact, just call Stützle for faking it and embellishing. You don't call the initial. You know what I mean? To me, it's one or the other. Like, a guy's either faking it, trying to sell a call, or there is illegal contact that leads to the action of them doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
All right, look, let's put a bow on where we're at in that series, and then we'll transition, because we can talk more about the Nurse play and what's going on out in the West before we, Mr. and Mrs. Gaudreau come on the show here in about 15 minutes. So you picked Carolina to win the series in 7.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that? Like, do you have real belief that this team is coming back in this series?
Not at all. I do think they could find a way to squeeze out a win in Game 5, but I don't think they're getting this to a Game 7 and extending the series and giving themselves a chance.
Well, they are going back on home ice, which is
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I know in playoffs, like, if I'm completely washing the first 4 games of this series and I have to pick one team in this league to win one game at home, it probably is the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, but how can you just wash 4 games of a series and pretend like they didn't happen?
I'm just giving you the situation. Like, if I was to pick one team in the NHL to win a home game, one single home game, because that's the way Carolina has to look at this. It's just one home game. I'm probably most confident in Carolina on home ice.
Okay. Yeah,
I think they can win one more. I don't think this gets to Game 7, but I know that from talking to you players, like, momentum in a series doesn't always exist. It's just one game.
I mean,
win
I don't think I've ever said that. I know a lot of people. Was it Bruce Gaudreau who said that on our show?
I mean, I talked to Jonathan Quick.
I just said Bruce Gaudreau. Bruce Boudreau. Sorry.
Yeah. But Colby, I spoke one-on-one with Jonathan Quick last year after the Rangers lost Game 5. So, like, kind of this exact situation. The Rangers, except they lost on home ice. They were going back to Carolina for Game 6. And Jonathan Quick had come back from down 3-0, in a series before in his career. And he was, in this situation, whatever. And he said, like, it's all bullshit. It's one game. It's one game. Like, no one's thinking about the previous.
I know,
game.
but
no
Johnny,
about the previous 3.
But I do think, like, where I don't agree with that is that you say that because you want to be humble when you're up. And you say that because you want to lie to yourself that you have a chance when you're down, because that's what you have to do. But I think that you build confidence in a series, Johnny, and you build confidence game to game. And you know this as a player. When you're not feeling confident and when you're not scoring and when you're getting chances and you can't bury, like, you feel that weighs on you. So to say that no momentum, like, there's individual momentum that goes game to game in a series. Like,
so then
when a
wouldn't you
guy's
feel
just
better
laying
if you're
it
the Canes right now, based on that theory?
What are you saying?
Wouldn't you feel better if you're the Canes then?
Well, of course you can. I mean, yes, because they played a good game last night, but they also, again, like, they just got the shit beat out of them for the first 3 games. And, Florida didn't play well last night, and again, is it because Carolina was just so good or because Florida was just so bad? Was it somewhere in the middle? Probably somewhere in the middle at 1-0 with a few minutes left in that game. It's not as if Florida had no chances to score. They had a bunch of power plays.
Florida's power play was dog shit.
Yeah, it was terrible. Not only did it not help their momentum, it took their momentum away. So, it was a mess.
But yeah, listen, I think the Canes can win game 5. I'll say Florida ends it in 6. What about you?
Yeah, I think Florida ends it in 5. Like, I don't. There's no reason why I believe that Florida has it in them to continue to lose game. Carolina hasn't. Hey, I got to put you on pause for 1 second. Okay. You take us to the next transition.
Yeah, I'll actually do, it's perfect for our Ninja Crispy hot take. We'll transition into the Oilers and Stars series right now. We'll put a bow on that conversation just for a little bit. Maybe we'll get into Carolina and Florida a little bit more tomorrow when we preview game 5, but it's time now for the Crispy hot take presented by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 portable glass air fryer.
Meet the first of its kind, the Ninja Crispy portable cooking system. The power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand, so you can cook big or small batches. Just prep it, crisp it, serve it, and store it all in one.
It's an all-in-one system that includes a 4-quart, 6-cup Tupperware glass container and 2 storage lids. The Ninja Crispy is thermal, shock resistant, and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-size air fryer. In the palm of your hands, the 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies. You can cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container with max crisp, bake, air fry, and re-crisp. With the Ninja Crispy, you can prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. So visit their website in the link in the description and stay tuned for a chance to win a free Ninja Crispy for one of our lucky fans. And today's Ninja Crispy hot take, which to me isn't that big of a hot take. And Colby, you're good? You're back? You're okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, by the way. You guys know how it is when you're married and the wife calls you 3 times in a row. You're like, oh, shit, what's going on? But everything's fine.
Josh Franco, funny comment. Colby giving it to a contractor. But today's Ninja Crispy hot take, and Colby and I actually were even arguing this before the show even started. I tweeted it over the weekend, I think on Saturday, whenever the game was, and it was, I don't think any professional athlete deserves a championship more than Connor McDavid. It was after McDavid scored his 2nd goal of the game, where he enters the zone. He wins the puck back from the far boards and then beats Ottinger to the high blocker. And I was like, this guy just does everything for this team. And my thought process behind it was what McDavid has done throughout his career in the postseason. Like, any chance the Oilers have had has been on his shoulders. He's gotten to 2. This is his 2nd conference final. Granted, they got swept in the first one. Oh no, third conference final, 2nd straight conference final in the last 4 years. I just want to read some of his stats in the playoffs the last few years, if I can, just to like talk about this argument, because I saw a lot of people saying no athlete deserves a championship, and then other people saying like, oh, well, it's Josh Allen who deserves it more. But just McDavid, first of all, I'll do the career numbers, 139 points in 88 playoff games. Looking at the past 4 postseasons, going back to 21-22, I'll start with that year, 33 points in 16 games. The following year, 22-23, 20 points in 12 games. The following year, last year, 42 points in 25 games. And this year, 22 points in 14 games. Insane. I don't know what else this guy has to do. I mean, he was, 1 goal away, 1 game away from winning a Stanley Cup last year. And to me, we talk about the players that do in the regular season, that can't do in the playoffs, the guys who shy away, the guys who struggle. Like, this is the best player in our sport, and he continues to be that come postseason. Like, I just don't know what else this guy has to do to win a championship.
Look, man, I'm sorry to say this to you. Nobody deserves anything in sports. Okay. And to make a statement that no athlete deserves to win more than him, I find that to be an asinine statement, because you deserve nothing. You get what you earn, and he hasn't earned it. He hasn't found a way to earn it. And there are a list of athletes, whether it's Dan Marino, whether it's Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John.
You're comparing those guys to Connor McDavid?
I'm just saying, there's Hall of Fame athletes in every sport that didn't win a championship. Some of it is circumstantial. Here's what I'm going to say to you.
Is this not circumstantial too?
Here's what I'm going to say to you. If he doesn't win this year, he could say, you know what? I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to go join forces with this player or that player or whatever. Like, you don't deserve to win a cup. Like, you have to go out and do it. I don't believe anybody deserves it. Okay. Like, again, before the show started, when we were arguing, I was like, let me Google some Hall of Fame athletes that have.
You didn't mention Henrik Lundqvist too, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I didn't. I mean, Randy Moss is another guy. Football, obviously, again, different story. But there, you can look at all these other sports. Okay, Barry Bonds is on that list. Pavel Bure is on that list.
Okay,
like,
maybe this is a better way to say it. Is there one individual that does a better job at carrying his team in a team sport?
Is there one individual that carries his team in a team sport? Well, I mean, listen,
more than Connor McDavid.
Like, didn't Dan Marino carry his team as the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins for a long time? I
watched one play of Dan Marino's career.
All right. Well, I'm saying,
let's say the last 10 years,
Ted Williams. That's another good one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are players that have carried their teams. Listen, Connor McDavid.
Aaron Judge sucks in the playoffs. For anyone saying
Connor McDavid very well may go down as the greatest hockey player that has ever played. His talent is undeniable. But again, you start getting into this era debate. Like, I was watching Rafael Nadal be honored, at Roland Garros this week. And you're looking at the big four and you're like, how would those guys have stacked up against Sampras and Bjorg and Agassi? And I know there was some crossover at the end of those guys' careers and whatever, but I just think that there's a lot of really good players. Jonny and Colby, Jerome McGinley. Like,
no, Jerome McGinley is not Connor McDavid.
I understand that, but why are we saying he deserves it more? Like, hold on. But of course, Jerome McGinley is not Connor McDavid. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
But he's been the captain of his team. He was the face of a franchise. He was one of the faces of the league. Okay, let's see. What were Jerome McGinley's playoff numbers like? I don't know off the top of my head. I remember him being pretty good in the playoffs, if I remember correctly. It's like there are players that have been, again, Hall of Fame players. McDavid, in my opinion, if he doesn't ever win a cup, like
Jerome McGinley, career numbers, 68 points in 81 career playoff games.
I mean, that's pretty good for the era he played in. He played in
double that.
But Johnny, he played when it was literally tackle football in the playoffs. I mean, that's where it's hard to, it's hard to start measuring. The playoffs
are you
was
saying
different
McDavid
when
doesn't get played extra physical?
Of course he gets played extra
physical. He could draw a
physical.
penalty
Look
every
at the
shift
goals
he's out
per
there.
game. Look at the amount of power plays. I remember growing up, and I know we'll have some people in our chat that watched, remember hockey from the 90s, and I don't remember there being this many power plays in the playoffs in the 90s. I really don't. Like, you had to mug a guy to get a penalty in the playoffs. And so, again, is Connor McDavid this all-world talent superstar? Yes. There's probably never been anyone like him. But why does he deserve it more than some of these other guys? More than Dan Marino? More than, Charles Barkley? These guys are also Hall of Famers, Johnny.
Yeah, but I'm saying because he's the best player like he's the best player not only in the regular season but also come playoff time. Like this guy does it all year, any situation.
I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that. But like, listen, let me ask you this question, and this comes directly from our friend Glenn, right?
What do you say?
Do you think McDavid would ever think that he deserves it? Like, do you think he would ever no, because that's not how it works.
But that's not what I'm saying. Like for me, it's all like individual performance based. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, look, you said on this show last week when we were talking about, I was giving you flowers.
Maybe
for
deserve
being
is
a
dumb. Maybe deserve.
I was giving you flowers for being a good hockey player, and then you backed it up with saying I was just happy to be there. So you stomped on the flowers that I gave you.
Well, I was.
This
is the truth.
Falls in line with your mentality. Like, no one deserves anything. You got to go fucking take it. If you're Connor McDavid, find a way to win Game 7 against Florida. Find a way to win Game 7. I think Connor McDavid is going to get his opportunity for fucking payback this year, okay? He's going to get his opportunity against Florida for payback. I'm sorry, Carolina fans. I'm sorry, Dallas fans. That's what I think. I haven't seen our friend Brandon, our Dallas guy in the chat today, but I think Edmonton's on a crash course for a rematch. Here's your chance, Connor. Show us. Go take it from Matthew Tkachuk and Brad Marchand, right? Go take it from them. That's how you win.
I heard our friend Matty Mugno's feelings. He's standing up for Aaron Judge. I'm pretty sure every Yankee fan I have seen online and I've talked to has said Aaron Judge sucks in the playoffs. McDavid not scoring a goal in Game 7 does not mean he sucks in the playoffs. It's one game he didn't score a goal.
Sorry, Sylvia. I'm not trying to jinx anything. K Waddy, you think we're both wrong? Well, tell us why we're both wrong. Put it in the chat and tell us why we're both wrong. And we are expecting, Mr. and Mrs. Gaudreau here in the next couple of minutes. And as soon as they come on, we will shift gears out of the series a little bit. But I don't know, Johnny, just
Colby.
saying someone deserves it, it doesn't sit right. I have a problem with that.
Well, but before Ovi won, I wouldn't have said like Ovi deserved it just because of, he was the best goal scorer in the league. Like McDavid does everything.
I never would have said he deserved. I don't say anybody deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
How many points did Connor McDavid have in Game 6 and Game 7 last year against Florida?
0.
Okay. Does he still deserve to win?
It's not about last year. I'm saying
take it. Now. I think he might this year. You look at the way in our history.
It was a present context tweet.
The rematch in year 2 normally goes to the team that lost the year before. I'm sorry. Glenn
just texted us. He's done everything but win the cup.
Okay, so now go win the cup. Listen, go win it. Go take it. It's like take your cup. Okay, but does he deserve it? Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Leon Draisaitl deserve to win a cup? Look at his freaking numbers. Why doesn't he deserve it? Why is it only McDavid?
Because I think McDavid's just a better player and does more.
Okay, but of course
I'm not taking away what
Draisaitl the best.
Wait,
but
doesn't
his wingman deserve it too then?
K-Waddy, deserve is stupid. Take it is stupid. He does literally everything he can. It's a team sport, Colby. I played. You should know.
Okay. All right. So, as usual, we have a very strong difference of opinion.
He said you played. I mean, you played.
Yes, I know. Listen, we need to get our point across here on this. So we just see it differently, Johnny, and that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So look, let's just close the loop on this series here. Obviously we'll talk a lot more about the Oilers and the Stars tomorrow after the game tonight. Trying to think what else are things that we have on the docket this week.
Maybe talking to Stefan Rosner about the Darsh.
We will get to the Islanders' decision to bring in Darsh. No Shanahan. That was a media creation. So we will get to that here at some point this week, depending on kind of how the week moves through here and what happens in these games. And do they give us an hour's worth of things to talk about, or do we have to, slide around the league? I know people have been asking us about the Memorial Cup and to talk about it. I know that's been going on. We will talk about that this week. 100% we will talk about this week. Again, we're going into game 4. Where are you with this series? Like, how are you feeling about this series with the way that Stuart Skinner is now playing and Ropa Hintz is out? Ekholm nearing a return here in the next couple of days. Where are you going with this series?
I had Dallas in 6. I don't think that's happening clearly. But even in game 3, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, Dallas actually isn't playing poorly, yet they can't get anything going. Like that second period, for me, it was pretty much all Dallas. Like they cut it to a 2-1 deficit. Then McDavid scores that goal to make it 3-1. And I'm sitting there like, man, even when they're playing well, Edmonton is still just that much more dangerous. The way this series has gone, even when the Oilers aren't at their best, Dallas is still struggling. So I just think Edmonton's going to take this one, and it's going to be Edmonton in 6.
Okay. Damn. Yeah. So you're thinking you're going 0 for 2 on your predictions in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
All right.
You?
All right. Look, let's switch gears a little here. We have 2 really, really special guests joining us today. These are 2 individuals that, just mean so much to the hockey world, and we've obviously talked a lot about this story on our show, and, we're honored to have, Ghee and Jane join us this morning here, guys, to talk about the 5K and everything you guys are doing for the community and continue to do for the community. So we're so grateful, and thanks for taking the time to talk with us this morning.
Morning, guys.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having us.
It's good to see you guys again. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but Ghee, I got a question for you off the bat here. You warm that arm up for later tonight? I just saw you're throwing out the first pitch tonight.
Yeah. No, I warmed up. I threw a couple the other day, but whatever. If I reach the plate, I reach the plate. I was thinking about doing it with my stick, but I'm not accurate enough, so I'm not doing that. So
that'd be cool.
I'm going to throw it.
I think that's been one of the, every time I see you guys with a team and, seeing you on the ice wearing team, just being a coach, right? I don't think people in our area know this, but there is a whole crop of hockey players that are playing in the NHL and Division I, and there's a tree, and that tree all points back to you and what you've done for so many kids in this area. I mean, it's undeniable, right? And I was a little bit older, so I never got to be a part of that tree, but seeing you and seeing all these kids, what you guys have done for hockey in this area, and including with Jonny and Maddie, with how great they were in this community, you guys, it's just incredible seeing this sort of Gaudreau family tree and what you guys have done. And I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys one-on-one since, the tragic accident, but it's amazing, how you guys continue to do this and grow the community.
It also helps to have good athletes, right? Kids that want to play hockey. I was very fortunate back in the early 92, 93, 94, 95, 96 group. There were a lot of very, very good athletes, kids that wanted to play, dedicated parents that really gave their heart and souls to their children to give them an opportunity to play at higher levels. And so it takes a combination of a lot of things, right? But I had been known to be a little bit hard on players and expect a lot out of them. So that kind of worked for me.
Yeah, it obviously works. So talk to us a little bit about the 5K, because that's one of the reasons we wanted to have you guys on. Jonny and I are both signed up on John Stevens' team to do the virtual 5K. And I know a bunch of our listeners have already signed up. There are people that I recognize that are with us every morning. I see their names that have joined teams to do the 5K. And we've been talking about it on our show, Mrs. Gaudreau, for the last probably month. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what it's for, what you guys are building, and how important this all is to the Gaudreau family and the foundation.
Sure. Years ago, I have a brother who has special needs, and years ago, my mom was looking for a school for him, and she was having a hard time because he had so many different disabilities. And Archbishop Damiano School was one of the schools that finally said, we'll take Ricky in and try him for about 6 weeks. We're not sure what we can promise. We just have to see how his disabilities were. So, but the one stipulation was my mom would have to go in because they were just a little bit nervous. So she did. She went in for 6 weeks. When the first day she went in there, they said, well, you can bring a book. You could, you can just sit in the office. You could go outside for a walk. I believe it was in April when he first went in. And this was back in 1972, I believe. So she went in and she said, well, that's not really kind of, my personality. Is there any way I could help? Is there something I can do for the schools or something I could work in the classroom? So they said, oh, sure, you can volunteer. So they had her volunteer. And the end of 6 weeks, they said that they would take my brother. They thought they had a perfect fit for him. And they also asked my mom if she would think about coming there to work, because they were so impressed with her, the way she worked with the other students. So that's how that all happened. So when I was a little girl, I would go to ADS with my mom. She was a single parent. So on my days off, I had to go up there with my mom and Ricky. So, I kind of got used to it. And then I went to college, and I was going to college also for special needs to be back then we called it a teacher of the handicapped. They, of course, changed a lot now. But then I started working there, and I met Ghee, and he was so involved with hockey and the different things he did. And I said, oh, wow, if we have children and they're hockey players, I'm going to miss a lot. So I switched over for special needs to finance, but still staying at Archbishop Damiano School. And then my oldest daughter, Kristen, she went to school for speech, and she works at the school. My youngest, Katie, she would work there during her college breaks during the summer and, during the Christmas winter break. And then the two boys, they would volunteer there because they played soccer in the fall and they played hockey all winter long. When it came to spring, they wanted to play baseball, and Guy was kind of on that page too, but I was more for let's take at least one semester where we kind of focus on our studies. It's going to be the end of the school year. And they were like, well, that's not really going to work, Mom, because we don't have a ride home.
They didn't like that study stuff.
Yeah, they would have rather played sports. So I said, oh, I got a great idea. You'll just come to my school and volunteer. And at first they gave me a little bit we really want to play baseball, and gave me a little bit of a hard time. But once they got to the school, they ended up, I would pick them up. I would take a late lunch. I'd pick them up. I'd bring them there, and they would go a lot of times in my mom's, and she had the older students. So one day I walked in just to see how they were doing, and the boys had rolled up pieces of paper, and they had two brooms, two different size brooms. One was like a push broom, one was a regular broom, and they're playing hockey with the students. And I was like, it was at the end of the day, my mom said it was fine, but it was just it's just been a family affair. We've, whenever someone in our family passes away or one of our friends, and they, a lot of times we'll donate to Archbishop Damiano School. And then about 2 years ago, right before my mom passed away, John started donating. And after my mom passed away, we said in lieu of flowers for the donations to go there. But this playground, because it's for special needs, it's, very, extensive. It has so many different special parts, and it's so expensive. It's over $600,000 just to build. And that's with a community build, because we decided at school that we would do a community build to save money. So when my mom passed away, that's what we did. And then it was, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Chris Snow. He was from Calgary.
Yeah.
So I was friendly with Guy and I and John. We were all friendly with his family. And after the boy's passing, his wife got in touch with me, and she said, the best thing for you to do, Jane, is find a project. You should find a project because it will it'll help you with your grief. You'll have another place to channel your grief. And I got off the phone with her, and I told Guy and, my two daughters, Kelsey said we should find a project. And I forget, I think it might have been Guy or one of my girls said, we kind of already have a project. Why don't we just go forward with the playground. And our hockey friends who, you both played hockey, so you know how close the hockey community is. Hockey parents are a breed of their own because they've spent so much time with each other. And every weekend, your hockey family is your family because you don't really see very much of your other family because you miss, holidays because you're at tournaments. You miss summer vacations because you're at summer tournaments. So we became very close. And one of my friends was actually, I'm not sure if you know Charlie Vastatora.
Yep.
But Charlie's mom, Deb, had come over and she said she had this great idea. And she said, why don't we do a 5K? And at that point, Guy and Kristen and Katie and we were just, it was an effort just to get out of bed in the morning at times. So we were like, I don't think we can do anything like that. That seems like a big taking. And Debbie and our hockey friends all said, we'll take it over. We'll do it. When you're ready, then you come and help us. When you think you're ready to step into it. And it wasn't until probably March that I thought that we kind of felt like, they would ask us questions about like the medal. Zach Aston-Reese made the medal. He designed it.
No
way.
That
was like kind of one of the first.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, I said no way.
I've
known Zach for a bit. I didn't know that he had that.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I mean, he did so many different ones, and that was really the first back in March where we kind of just felt like we could take part just a little bit of it. And since then we've gotten a little bit more involved, but this has all been the hockey, our hockey family, the hockey parents, John and Maddie's best friends who their parents it's their parents. So that's kind of, how it evolved. And of course at Archbishop Damiano School, they were also doing a little bit of fundraising, but we're a small community. It wasn't, it would have taken so much longer. And this just kind of like took over. And he and I thought that, it would be nice because it would be 9 months after the accident. And it would be a way for like, maybe 100 or so people, maybe 200 people would show up and we could, talk to them and we could thank them for everything that they've done for us, because the hockey community really has taken us all in. And it's been like a warm hug between Calgary and Columbus and Boston College. And then even the boys USHL team, Omaha Lancers for Maddie and Dubuque for John. And then with Maddie, like the Worcester Railers, Bridgeport Sound Tigers, so many people have just reached out to us. And it's just, helped us with our grief because we've realized how much the boys influenced so many other people.
Yeah. Well, there's not, I got to know them when they were very young, just being around the gym and stuff before they were, they were on their way, but they were still young kids. And I'll never forget. I think Johnny was a freshman at BC and we played against each other in the Checking for Charity championship game. And I think it was maybe my first or second year pro. And like, there's this young kid who's like, just did things as his freshman year at BC that guys just don't do. And so I'm like, okay, like every time he jumps out, I'll jump out because, at that time, Checking for Charity didn't have a lot of young players. Like we were two of the only young players, Guy, if you remember, if you guys, like it was a lot of older players just kind of having fun. Yeah, like it was before they had the pro division of Checking for Charity. And
you were line matching against him, Colby?
Halfway through the game, I'm like, this is not going very well for me. This kid's pretty good. And then, of course, he gets out there one shift in overtime, scores. Everybody's looking at me like, where were you on that play, Colby? And I'm like, yeah, okay, this Jonny Gaudreau kid is about as good as they all said he was. But I mean, always smiling, always just so their personalities were so warm, and it's obvious where they get all that from. And Johnny and I are signed up for the 5K. My wife and my daughter are signed up, so we'll be walking Longport and Margate this weekend, getting our virtual 5K. And when John Stevens called me, I felt honored that he called me, wanting me to help talk about it and promote it and this and that. So we're so grateful for what you guys are doing. The hockey community is truly fully behind you. There's no doubt. I have to ask you, you saw what happened with USA Hockey this weekend. They win a gold medal for the first time in 92 years. What's the first thing that they do? What does that say?
Yeah, they with the Four Nations and the them winning the gold medal here and carrying John's jersey, and I know they have the 1321 on in the locker rooms, and they've really honored my two boys. Well, USA Hockey's done a great job developing hockey players, and they continue doing that, and it's nice that they recognized two kids that grew up through USA Hockey and maintained that path of, all right, I'm going to play USHL, I'm going to play Division I college hockey, I'm going to try to make it pro, and that's every American hockey player's dream, right, to do that, and anyways. Things have changed a little bit in that direction. I'm not real pleased with the way they've changed, but hopefully they can get it right. But
But it was amazing to see Zach. At first we saw just what everyone else saw when they had the jersey with the cup, but then we saw like the behind the scenes when Zach actually left the ice, ran back to the locker room, and got the jersey and came back, and that was I mean, again, hockey players are just such a special group of people. They're, and for him to have done that was just, very emotional. And it was just a testament to, who Zach is, who the whole Columbus Hockey Club and Calgary and really just the hockey world. When they did that, that just, meant so much to all of us.
Well, and one of the most, I think, amazing things is that, we have people who come to our show every day from Calgary, for example. They live in Calgary. They're Calgary Flames fans. And I think one of John's special gifts, and again, I spent up more time around John than I did Maddie, but from what I understand, it was also a gift of Maddie's. Like, they made everybody feel really important. Those two boys made everybody feel like, I am giving you my undivided attention. I am giving you the time of day. They were just such glowing human beings. And I think that's one of the reasons that the hockey world not only has rallied behind you guys, but will continue to make you a part of the family. Guy, we better see you out on the ice next year, whether it's with the Flyers, Calgary, because when you're in that warm-up suit, it just feels right. It looks right. Seeing you on the ice, it looks right. And so we hope to see you guys continue to do that. We know the silent auction is live right now. We will repost all that through our channels of the show. And we're so grateful you guys took the time to come on with us this morning. We really are. We know this isn't easy to do. But we're really grateful for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. And you were right what you said about the boys. That's how they were. But they were also, John was a little shyer than Maddie, but they were just so much full of fun. They loved children. They were always like just trying to prank someone or just do different silly things. And I just think that's what just made them so, just like the boy next door. Like if they can do it, like maybe my son can do it, or those younger, smaller hockey players say, if they can do it, maybe I can do it, because that's just who they were. They were just like full of life, full of fun, and just, just crazy at times, but really, really good people.
Well, there's a whole generation of young hockey players that are going to wear number 13, especially kids that are a little bit smaller, and they all believe they can play in the NHL. And that's because of Johnny Hockey. And that is a testament to what he did in the sport. And I know Maddie came up behind him and found his way as well, but his legacy will live on forever. Johnny, sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're good.
You were going to ask something.
I was just going to say, like, I had never met them, but spending the weekend with both of you in Sioux Falls and like hearing stories from both of you about them was really special for me. I was a younger guy, and growing up idolizing them was really cool. And I think I told you guys I played against Maddie my freshman year when he was at BC and I was at UMass, and it was like the first time I've ever like gotten so scared to play against a hockey team in my life, just because I saw that last name. I saw the Boston College jersey, and I was incredibly intimidated. And even Guy, on the ice in that morning skate in Sioux Falls, when I was out there, he was telling me to move my feet. It doesn't leave the coaching, So that was a lot of fun, and it was just really cool to hang out with you guys that weekend. And I'm very grateful.
Yeah, that was nice. That was an honor too. That was unbelievable what the USHL did for the boys. I mean, like and everyone's just been so just so warm and helpful, and picking words for in memory of the boys. It was just it's just a way to keep their legacy alive, and I just think it'll be good for hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, listen, you're welcome anytime there's a project or anything for the foundation. We always have time to talk to you guys, and we're so grateful again that you came this morning, and good luck with the rest of this, of the building of the playground. And we will continue to echo it to anybody who will listen. So we hope you guys have a good day, and thanks for coming on.
And good luck with the pitch tonight.
What's that?
I said good luck with the pitch tonight.
Yeah.
On a curve.
Competitive juices will come out in you, Ghee.
I'm sure he's going to have his hockey stick in the car just in case he decides to do that.
I tried, and I'm not good enough.
John did that in BC after he came back from when he was out in Calgary. He came back, and he would always come back the summers and sleep in Maddie's dorm and take classes, because that was one of the agreements we had, that he would have to finish his degree if he left early. So he did that, and Boston College had a baseball game, and we knew he was throwing out the first pitch, and next thing we know, we see it, and he did it with a hockey stick. And I was like, he was a little off, right? He was a little to the
he did
to the left a little bit, but it was
a nice shot.
It was like, but again, that's his personality. Like,
Yeah.
why would you do that? It was, but that's just something he came up with at the first All-Star game he went to. Well, maybe not the first one, the second one. He wanted to set his stick on fire for the skills competition. But they had way too many rules about that.
Probably not the best idea.
No, didn't go very well.
Oh boy. All right, guys, listen, thanks so much. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Good luck tonight, Ghee and Jane. Stay strong. And again, you guys are very inspiring. I so many people draw inspiration from you guys, and we're grateful that you came on to talk to us about it this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
All righty. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. I mean, they're just awesome. I don't know what to say.
Listen, you see why their kids are great kids. I mean, the apples, they don't fall far from the tree, and that's the reputation the Gaudreaus have had. It's always been the best reputation you could have. Ghee, again, he's modest, but there's a lot of hockey players that went and played Division I hockey and professional hockey that he was a major influence on developing. The Robinson brothers, the kid they mentioned, Charlie Vasaturo, was a Division I player at Union, won a national championship. There's a whole slew of these guys from South Jersey out of Hollydale Ice Arena, and they all go back to Guy Gaudreau, right? And with every great leader, there's really your spouse standing next to you, who's probably really the one in charge. That's usually how that works. But it's great to see it. Look, if you have an opportunity to sign up for this virtual 5K, it's $40. I'm not going to run. I signed my wife and my daughter up. We're just going to walk. And I think you just take a photo and you submit it. You don't have to be athletically gifted to walk. I think a 5K is like 3 miles or whatever. We'll make it a family affair this weekend. There's links in the description for the show. There's links in the chat. You can find it on social media. There's silent auction items. It's really anywhere you need to look. There's t-shirts, there's merchandise, all of that stuff. All of the proceeds for all of this stuff is going towards building this park in honor of the boys at the special needs show, at the special needs school that the Gaudreaus are so tied to. As Jane, went through and explained to us what the ties were. So again,
Vic also found the clip, Colby, of Johnny doing the first pitch.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's show it.
Let's see that with the hockey stick.
Yeah. That's not a bad one.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not
But
at all.
now imagine being at Citizens Bank Park in front of 35,000 people, and a little bit different. So, but even that, like, there were moments of silence at football games, like everywhere around the globe, like, you know, the shockwaves that were sent and the support that's been, you know, so it can't be easy for them to even come on and talk. I mean, you could see how difficult it is. So for them to give us the time, again, thank you to them, to the whole Gaudreau family. I know there's more awards in line for them this year, you know, via USA Hockey, through the Atlantic District. They're going to continue to be honored. And that's the one thing that I know we've talked about on the show is, like, we need to make sure this continues. And I think it will. I think it will. And I got to tell you, like, I'd love to see the number 13 retired in the National Hockey League. Like, I know that's a hard thing to do, but I would love to see that happen. I think that number should be put to bed, you know, once and for all. And that number should leave the game with Jonny. Maybe if there are certain players still wearing it, maybe they'd be grandfathered in, but no more number 13s in the National Hockey League. I think that number should forever be Jonny Hockey's number. But there's nowhere else really to go from there, Jonny. I know we didn't do Bet365 today. We'll do 2 tomorrow. Okay. I don't think we're gonna bring any advertising into the show here as the rest. I think that interview was really powerful in itself and emotional, and you know, hopefully you guys all appreciated hearing you know, the Gaudreaus today, and you know, had the opportunity to hear what they're you know, what they're up to. And like we said, if you can support the 5K, Jonny and I are on John Stevens. I forget what his team is called. It's like the John Stevens.
I could try to find it. I have the link.
Coaching team or something like that, because you can join a virtual 5K team. Like I said, you'll find Jonny and I on there. I think Jeremiah signed up. I know we had a
Stevens Coaching Challenge.
Stevens Coaching Challenge. Do you see any other names from our chat? Like, can you see the roster of people on the team?
On that team?
Yeah, can you see it? I know it's a little bit hard to get to it.
It's just got like first name, last name, initial.
So okay.
Tough.
So who signed up under you, me, Sloan, and Alex?
I see Jeremiah M on there.
Okay. Anybody else?
Nothing that is recognizable.
Okay. So sign up.
Sloan C, Alexander C, Colby C, obviously.
Yeah. That's my family. Shane didn't make the cut. Maybe I should sign him up too. But I think I got a tweet from one of our listeners over the weekend that said they signed up. I think Jennifer O'Regan tweeted at us this weekend. She signed up for that. And then she's a loyal listener. She's always here with the show. So like I said, even if you can't do the 5K, you can donate, you can buy a t-shirt, whatever it is. Any way that you can support. It's a great initiative here that they're working on. So that's what we have for today. Tomorrow, like we said, we will get more into the Dallas Edmonton game from tonight. I don't think, you know, we'll find out if we get any health updates. You know, maybe tomorrow's the day we need to get into the Memorial Cup, Jonny, just because there's only going to be one game tonight. We've already talked about, so maybe that would be tomorrow. We'll figure that out. We'll talk to Zach and see what the sheet has planned as far as that stuff goes, because I know the sheet has kind of been leading the charge of covering and talking about that kind of stuff. It's you know, it's more in their wheelhouse. You know, you and I are a couple of USA former college players, and we know that we do have some black holes with you know, the with the Memorial Cup. So you've got Greg Wyshynski today and Colton Davies today on the sheet. So then we'll try to link up and have Colton come on tomorrow and talk about, you know, what's going on there with the Memorial Cup. So, because we've had people that have wrote us asking us to talk about it, and we want to make sure. We always tell you guys, if you leave comments on our stream and there are topics that you want to dive into, we will get to them. You know, like we always appreciate you guys helping us inform what's going on and what we're going to talk about. So make sure you guys like today's episode. Make sure you guys keep subscribing to the channel. I don't know, how are we doing with our subscribers? Are we getting closer to 30,000?
28.6.
We're at 28.6. So it would be great by the end of this week to be at 29,000. That'd be great, which would leave us about 1,000 subscribers short with maybe one full round left. Because we are getting down to it here with these two series, game 4 and game 5, right? So make sure you keep hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you keep the comments coming. Make sure you get the auto downloads going as well. Zach is letting us know Mario Cecchini, the QMJHL commissioner, will be on the sheet tomorrow. So there's definitely a little bit of a lineup here to talk about the Memorial Cup over the next couple of days on the sheet. We'll get Colton on here if it works with his schedule tomorrow at some point of the show, maybe on the back half. Hopefully we'll have Frank join us tomorrow. I know this week has been a little bit different, so we'll check in with Frank today and see if we can't get him teed up to come on the show tomorrow. So with that, listen, we hope everybody has a good day. I know this episode, again, a little different than what we normally do, but still really powerful to have Mr. and Mrs. Gaudreau come on and talk about the 5K and everything that they've got going on within the family. So Johnny, I don't know if you have anything else, but I know you said you threw your back out this weekend, but we don't have to get too deep into that. And
I was taking apart a swing set.
Yeah. We hope everybody has a nice day, and we hope you enjoyed that, and we will see everybody where we always do, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.